We're now up to part 13 of this tutorial series where we're building a quiz application with AngularJS, and in this part we're going to tackle the task of being able to display image-based questions. So if we jump into our HTML, right here, from here down to here, is the row that we use ng-repeat to loop through the possible answers and display them out. So we're going to create another one of those, row, and it's going to be the same small column that takes up 6 rows, and we'll add the ng-repeat onto that, and it will be exactly the same answer in quiz.dataService.quiz questions quiz.activeQuestion possibilities, and then inside here we'll create a div which will give our own custom class of image answer, and we'll use that to style this later, and then we'll give it an image. Don't need the alt tag, and then we'll make the source an ng source, and we'll just give it answer.answer, and that's because answer.answer in an image question is the URL, so we can just print that out there. But now, of course, right now both of these rows will print out, and when it's a text-based question we'll get the text in here, but then we'll also try to fetch the text, which is just a question, as an image, which of course it isn't, so that'll throw an error. And when it's an image-based question, it will print out the URL and the image. So we want to conditionally choose one or the other of these rows, depending on if the current question is an image-based question or a text-based question. And Angular gives us another directive called ng-if. And ng-if is very much like ng-show and ng-hide, but instead of what ng-show and ng-hide do, where they render out the HTML but then conditionally show or hide it, ng-if simply won't even render out the HTML if the condition is not met, which is perfect for our usage. So we check if it's an image-based question or a text-based question, and then only display one of these rows, and the other one won't even get rendered. So we won't get any of these quirky errors in the console or anything. So we'll start off and we'll add our ng-if up here, ng-if, and we'll say quiz dot, because we're in our quiz controller, data service dot quiz questions quiz dot active question dot type equals, and then in single quotes, text. So that's if the current question is of type text, and this dot type is coming from here, where each question in the JSON has a type property of either text or image. So we have a text-based question there and an image-based question here. So coming back here, we can add in the ng-if onto the image-based one, and it's going to be pretty much the same. Quiz.dataService.quiz question quiz.activeQuestion dot type equals single quotes image. Change that, I've made a typo. Make sure I haven't made any other mistakes. I think we're good. Now come into the browser, start quiz, and here we're displaying out the text-based question nicely, and again, and here we go, we've got some images, but they're not sized very nicely. So that's why we added in the class on this div, image_answer, so we can style the image nicely. So there's a few classes or a few CSS rules we're going to add here. So we'll open up our CSS, and at the bottom here we'll say image answer, and then we'll say cursor pointer height 350 pixels. So that's again just trial and error, and I found that 350 looks good, but you can choose whatever you want. Width 100%, overflow hidden, border radius of 10 pixels, and margin bottom of 20 pixels. And then we'll add another rule of image answer image, and we'll say width of 100% and height of auto, just to make sure it fills up the entire container. And then we'll close out the CSS and come back into our quiz, and there we can see our images are styled nicely. So we've got the nice little border radius, and they're all the same height, and everything is good. So now in the next video, we're going to take a look at changing the selected property when we actually click one of these answers, and then also displaying some feedback to the user so the selected answer is highlighted. So that's what we will tackle in the next video. For those of you that haven't checked out my website yet, I do a full article write-up for every single video that I put out on YouTube, and that will include code snippets and other little things that will help you along. The link to the write-up for the current video is on the bottom left of the screen. And if you just want to continue watching this video series, then just click the link in the center of the screen and we'll get started with the next video.